taking your blocks, putting one at the lowest height and one at the medium height. So the lowest height is in the front, the medium height is at the back. You're just gonna take your bolster, you're gonna place it over top of it. And then once that's all set up, feel free to just bring your hips back to that bolster. And then you can lie down, putting your head on the bolster. The legs can either remain bent or out straight and the arms out to the side. You can just start this supported fish. Taking a moment to settle. You can keep the eyes open or you can feel free to close them or soft gaze at the tip of the nose. I'm just going to do a quick body scan to see how we're feeling this evening. So starting at the crown of the head, moving down to the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, over to the ears, nose, lips, and the chin. And slowly relaxing. Working our way down the neck. Noticing the upper back resting nice and soft on the bolster. Bring the attention to our shoulders and work our way down to the biceps, triceps, into the elbows. Noticing forearms, wrists, and fingers. Giving space. Bring our attention back up to the shoulders. Work our way in the upper back and the upper chest. Mid back, mid chest, belly, and the lower back. Find grace and space. Work our way through the hips, noticing the glutes supported by the mat. Work our way down the thighs, quads, hamstrings, knees, the shins and calves, ankles, the feet, and the toes. You notice any area particularly tight this evening, I invite you just to take a deep breath into that area now. As we know with yoga, it's not just about the body, it's also about the breath. So I invite you just to observe your breath for a quick moment. How are you breathing this evening? Is it deep and shallow? Moving to the chest or the lower abdomen. Now we begin to focus on that breath. Taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, we breathe into the lower belly so that that lower belly comes up like a balloon. And then as we exhale, the navel works its way back in towards the spine. We inhale through the nose, that belly blows up like a balloon. Every exhale, emptying, relaxing. Looking for a few of these deep belly breaths at your own pace, signaling to the parasympathetic nervous system it's okay to relax. Two more of these belly breaths. Returning back to the normal breath. Just observing if anything changed. You can keep the eyes closed. You can reach the hands right up overhead like you're doing a great big morning stretch here. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes. And slowly bring those hands back down towards the mat and just push yourself up ever so slightly. You can bend the legs here so that the knees are bent. The hands can be at the sides, and maybe just start tick-tocking the legs from side to side, just loosening up those hips. The next time those knees come down to the left side, you can stack the knees so that they're close to one another. You're going to bring the hips up to that bolster here. And then you're going to take that bottom left arm, just extend it all the way on the bolster, and then bring your head down so it relaxes on that shoulder or bicep. You're just straightening up that left side of the body, the ribs extended a little bit. You can feel free to take that top hand and bring it up overhead as well. Breaths here, just opening up that left side and the right side. Be ready. You take that top hand and just bring it down to the right side of the bolster as you press up ever so slightly, and then you put that left hand on the other side of the bolster. You bring the chest towards the bolster and then come down, bringing your chin onto that bolster, releasing the hands down to the side. And then either rest your right ear on the bolster, or if you really like a deeper twist, that right ear on the bolster. We call this twisted deer. Nice way to the spine twisted a little bit, bringing out the day. Going back to that breath. You're on one cheek here, you either switch the other cheek or put the chin down just so that you're balancing things out just slightly here. A couple more breath. And on your neck, inhale, keeping the hands slowly back towards the body as you push yourself up from that bolster. You're going to cartwheel the hands around to the side, and the legs are going to come back, knees up to the sky. Got your hips still pasted onto that bolster. We just begin to tick-tock the hips one more time here. And then this time, with yoga, it's about the yin and yang or balance. We're going to drop the knees down to the right side. We're going to bring our right hip up to that bolster. We're going to take that bottom right arm and extend it to the top of that bolster. We're going to rest our head on that top of the arm, the shoulder area. We take that left hand over top. Just get that nice extension through the spine. Going to stretch the intercostal muscles of the ribs. One more nice deep breath here. And we begin to take that top arm down to the left side of the bolster. You can just slightly bring that right arm down as well. So you got your framing the bolster. You're going to twist a little bit more so that the chest is coming down straight on that bolster. You can release the hands so the forearms are resting right next to the bolster. And again, you can rest on your left ear or right ear, whatever feels good tonight. Just listening and honoring the body. We'll just come back to that breath. Confucius says, it does not matter how slow you go, as long as you do not stop. Always remember to breathe. Two more rounds of breath here. Again, if you're on one side of the ear or cheek, you can maybe move the chin down on the opposite ear just to balance things out a little bit. And then when you're ready, the hands can frame the bolster as you push yourself up. You can cartwheel the hands around to the side. Then this time, you feel free to move that bolster just off to the side. And then you just grab those blocks and to the top of the mat. So we have them there. And we can get into a nice seated position as we inhale, we bring those hands up all the way to the sky. Imagine you're picking your favorite fruit off of a tree here. And then we drop the right hand down, that left arm comes across, we gaze up to the sky. And we inhale back through center, left arm comes down, right arm across. And then you have both hands up overhead. I'm going to flip the palms so that they're facing towards the front. As we paint the wall in front of you, bring the hands down and then just tuck the chin ever so slightly and begin to rock on your hips. If you're like me, I spend a lot of time on the computer, so this is a good time to say hello to that lower back. And then we can begin to slow that down. We walk the hands back into towards yourselves. The gaze is focused on the horizon. You're elongating the crown of the head here. We're going to drop the left ear to the left shoulder. And then you can take that left hand and just place a little bit of micro pressure on the right temple. A little bit goes a long way, so you don't have to do much here. Remember to breathe. You'll feel that breath coming into the back of the neck and into the top of the right shoulder. Then you can release that top hand. The chin comes down and tucks in towards the chest as we gaze at the mat. And we roll right ear to right shoulder. You take that right hand, a little bit of pressure on that left temple. Again, remembering to breathe. Beautiful. You take that top hand away, we bring the chin down towards the chest. We bring the gaze back up to the horizon, and we start just gazing over one shoulder, through center, the other shoulder. Beautiful. The next time you come to the left side, just stop. And then imagining your nose is a paintbrush. We're going to paint a rainbow with our nose. So you're going to gaze up to the ceiling and then come over to the right side. And then backwards. So getting through the top, going to the left side. And then if you like, you can bring the chin all the way down and make a full circle here. Remember to do it nice and slow. And then we switch directions because we need to balance everything else here. It's okay if you hear a little cracking and crunching. The next time the chin comes down towards the chest, we bring the gaze towards the horizon. Then we shrug our shoulders up and then drop down. Shrug up, drop down. Obliques. Beautiful. And then we slow that down. And we imagine that we're swimming towards the front of the room. So one shoulder forward, one back. And then we do the backstroke here, so in opposite direction. We begin to slow that down. We're going to take our left arm out straight in front of us. We're going to take our right hand and just pull those fingers down towards the mat here, just straighten, kind of lengthening out the wrists. Again, very good for us people that type a lot on computers. You do work on a computer, try to do these wrist stretches throughout the day. And then we can release and then flip the palm like you're waving at somebody. And then you pull the fingers back towards the floor. And then we can release and shake that left hand out. We're going to take that right arm all the way out. Now this one's a little stiffer for me because it's my mouse hand. So again, fingers face towards the ground. We take that left hand down and just kind of cup it and push it towards the body. Remember to breathe. And then we flip that palm like we're waving at somebody. We pull those fingers back. And then we release and we shake it out. And then we just bring our arms up like this. We're going to flick our fingers 10 times. So just doing this 10 times. And then shake it out. And then 10 more. And then shake. All right, there's no real yogic way to do this, but we're going to make our way to a tabletop position. So maybe swing your legs out around like a mermaid, or you can take your blankets and just put around the halfway point of the mat, because we're going to spend some time on our knees as well. So just to protect the knees here. Again, remember, it does not matter how slow you go as long as you do not stop. Confucius said that. So as we knead into this tabletop position, just make sure your fingers are spread out nice and wide. We want wrists, elbows, and shoulders in line. We want knee and hip in line. Once you're in that nice position, do an inhale here. On the inhale, you're going to kick the tailbone up to the ceiling. The belly's going to dip. The gaze is going to come forward. And then as you exhale, push the mat away with your hands, round on the top of the spine, and bring the gaze towards the navel. Inhale, belly dips. Tailbone up, gaze forward. Exhale, pushing, rounding, gaze towards the navel. Working through a few of these cat-cows at your own pace, matching movement to breath. Additionally here, if you'd like to add any movements in as well, maybe it's wagging of the tail from side to side, or some of us like to maybe do these barrel rolls where you take the hips and just do circles in one direction and maybe in the opposite direction. It's up to you, just whatever the body's craving tonight. Little yoga playtime is always good. We begin to slow that down. We'll lean back in that tabletop position. We're going to wag our tails just from side to side here, but we're going to become almost really exaggerated. So I want you to come down and almost bring the hip almost all the way down to the mat here. Just hold it for a second, and then come through center, and then bring the opposite hip down, almost to the mat, and then through center. A couple of these, just opening up, loosening up the back and the hips. Feel nice, especially if you've been sitting a lot. And the next time you come through center, you can slow that down and we'll be back in that tabletop position. Again, just checking in, the fingers are spread, wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in line. On the next inhale, you're going to put the weight of that left hand. We're going to bring the right hand all the way up to the sky. And then we're going to bring that right arm down. We're going to feed it through the bottom arm, and we're going to come and rest on our right temple. And then if you'd like, you can take that top hand, you can flip it around so that the back of the hand is as small as the spine. Or if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can keep the hand just in front of the gaze, whatever feels good to you. Remembering to breathe here.
On the next inhale, if you have that top hand around the back of the spine, we can place it in front of the gaze. And then we put the weight into that left hand, we lift up the head and bring that right arm all the way across, up towards the sky one more time. And then finally bringing it back down to the tabletop. We're gonna put the weight into the right arm this time, that left hand is gonna come up all the way to the sky. And then we're gonna take that top arm, feed it through the bottom, and that left temple is gonna come down to the mat. And again, whatever you'd like to do with that top hand, maybe around to the back or leaning for picking. Put that top hand to the small of the back, you can place it down in front of the gaze. So inhale, put the weight to that right hand, that left hand comes across the body all the way up to the sky. And then we bring it back down in that tabletop position. We just check in to make sure we're nice and square here. And then we're going to take our right leg all the way long behind us so that it's off the mat. The toes are facing towards the ground here. You're going to have the core slightly engaged. And then you can take the opposite hand. So that left hand, you're going to inch it to the top of the mat. And if you feel comfortable, you can take that hand off the mat and put it up in front of you like you're shaking my hands. Let me just hold it there for a couple seconds, taking a breath. And then we make a fist with that front hand. We bend the elbow and we bring the elbow and knee together. And then we put the arm and leg back out straight and long. Clench the fist, elbow and knee together. Arm and leg out long. One more time. Perfect. Now we're going to take that top hand and bring it back down. And we're going to take that back leg all the way over to the opposite side. So the left side, the toes are going to come down. And then you're going to gaze over that left shoulder to see if you can say hello to your toes or your heel. Make sure to put some weight into that right hand. Sometimes we just kind of lazily don't put that in. Want that stretch on the right side as well. One of my favorite poses. Gaze can come towards the hands now. We're going to come on the back tiptoe. We're going to draw a half circle all the way over to the right side. You're going to have your toes flat on the ground so that they're facing forward here. The foot is flat on the ground. And then in this position here, you can either feel free to lean back and sit on that back heel, or you can rock back and forth, or maybe try that cat-cow movement as well. Feels good. Again, a little bit of playtime here. I'm not super flexible, so I can't sit all the way back and line you up. And then we begin to slow that movement down, bring the gaze back towards the hands, and we're just going to pivot onto that heel. So that the foot that's on the ground now, the heel's off the ground, the toes are kind of facing towards the sky now. You're going to feel that stretch on the inner part of the thigh. And then we bring the toes back down so they're facing forward. We're going to make two fists here. And then we're going to take our left hand and put it to the left hip. And then we're going to push up on that right hand. Put both hands on the hips here. So again, a little bit off. You just want to readjust so that you're almost in a nice straight line here. We call this half gate pose. We're going to inhale, both hands come up overhead. We drop that right arm down the long leg. Bring that left arm across and gaze up towards the elbow. And then we can inhale, both hands up overhead. We're going to take the arms up wide here, almost facing up. And then just drawing circles in one direction. Maybe those circles get bigger. And then you can reverse, starting out big. And then getting smaller. We can slow that down. The hands can come to heart center, or you can have to grab that right leg. We're just bringing it all the way to the center part of the mat now. So that front leg, the right leg is flat on the ground. We've got the ankle and knee in line. But we're going to reach for our blocks here. We're just going to frame that front foot. Again, you want almost a nice L shape. You want to press into those blocks so the chest is nice and open and the gaze is forward. Now, bend the back leg. You're gonna feel stretching that quad. Now take the left hand and just press it into that block and then cartwheel your right hand back to see if you can grab the toes or tickle your feet or something like that. You can even look back here. And then we can cartwheel that front hand back down. We can release that back leg. We push up into the blocks again just to make sure that chest is nice and open. And then we place our hands on our thighs here just to press up. Then whenever you're ready, we inhale, both hands come up overhead. We're going to reach around behind us. We're going to interlace the hands. You're going to pull the hands away so the shoulder blades kiss together. The gaze comes up towards the sky, your beautiful heart. Then we breathe here. Nice deep inhale here. Sigh something out, let it go. One more go. Gaze comes back towards the horizon. We can take those front hands and grab the blocks and just moving back towards the body as we straighten out that front leg. So that front leg is almost straight now. You want to have a micro bend in that knee. You don't want to lock it out. And then you can use the blocks just on your fingertips here, or you don't have to put your hands on your hips. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wave our feet at one another. You might feel this in the back of the hamstring, kind of the right and left side of it. And then I always like to spread the toes here and do what we call gas pedals. So once we get through center, you press down on the center like a gas pedal as you lift up. And then you do the same on the left side, through center again, and the right side. Just doing this a couple times. If you ever have to take a long flight, this is a great exercise to do. Keeps things circulated. And then the next time it comes through center, the toes can come back up, facing towards the sky here. And we're going to look for those blocks again. We're going to make sure that our chest is nice and open. The chin is parallel to the ground. You're gazing at the horizon, and you're going to start bringing the chin down towards the knee as far as you can, or until you feel a stretch. Then you're going to level the hands out in the blocks, and then you're going to tuck that chin in. And you're going to feel that stretch in the back of the hamstring. Now, if that stretch isn't enough for you, you can also scissor the hip. So front hip comes back hip comes forward, and then you can settle back down, and that should intensify the stretch a little bit more. Great Chinese proverb says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. The new strawberry pink moon upon us. One last breath in here. And when you're ready, you can bring that front foot back down flat. You can take the blocks up to the top of the mat. And then we're going to place the hands on the inside of that right leg. Now it might feel a little bit awkward, so you can just heel toe that front foot just maybe an inch or two so that your right arm is kind of parallel to that right shin area. And then again, let's have some fun. We can bend that back leg. We can put the weight of that left hand. We can cartwheel that right hand back again. And we can grab those toes and maybe pull it in towards the glute, or just give ourselves a little tickle on the feet. We can let the back leg go now. We cartwheel the hand back down to the front. And then we're going to take that front foot and we're going to edge it to the side of the mat and on the side of that right foot. Now the gaze is going to come towards the horizon. Here you can take your right hand, put on the inside of the thigh, and just give it a little press. And then if you'd like, you can either use props that blocks if you need them to either protect the wrists, or you can come down to the forearms here. And you can feel that stretch even deeper. But again, definitely not mandatory. Listen to your body. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Always think of the iguanas at this time. I see them around. This lizard pose, so you can probably see the reason why. One last breath here. And if you use those blocks, you can take them back up to the top of the mat, or you can push into the hands now. You can come back onto that right foot.
And then all we're gonna do is take that right foot behind us onto the blanket. We're gonna reposition the hands so we're in tabletop. A quick cat and cow here, just to reset everything. And then when you're ready, the knees can go about a mat distance apart. Our big toes touch as we sit back onto the feet almost, and we take our hands up a little bit straighter and stronger, and we get our forehead down into a childlike pose. Pose of surrender. We really want you to feel the breath. Our ribs are like 360 degrees. You just feel like the gills of the fish on the side of the body opening up. It's also a good time to shake your jaw from side to side. We hold some tension there, and this way nobody can see you do it. On the next inhale, the gaze comes towards the hand. We take our right hand off the mat. We're going to take that left hand just to touch the back of that right hand. And then we're going to settle back down. Forehead comes down and just check into that left hip. Make sure that it's not kind of sitting too far up. You won't be pressing on, so you're almost sitting on that left heel. And again, you should feel that stretch in the left side of the body into the armpit area. Remembering to breathe. Nice deep inhale. Nice, smooth, long exhale. On the next inhale, gaze can come back towards the hands. We want the hands to center. Then we take that left hand off the mat. We take that right hand just to touch the back of that left hand, and we bring the forehead down and we settle back down, pressing into that right hip. Remember to breathe. More round breath here. Knees can come towards the hands. You walk the hands to center. We'll just slowly push up and reposition our knees here. And then we're going to take the hands about a palm print or two forward, and then we're going to drop down on our forearms here. We want the hips up towards the sky. And then we want to maybe adjust the elbows a little further out and bring the chest all the way down, all the way to the chin into our puppy pose. And if it feels nice, you can press the hands together and make a prayer pose behind the head or back of the neck. And if that doesn't feel good, that's okay. You can keep the hands down long in front of you. Next, inhale brings the gaze towards the hands as we press up. We bring the hands back towards our tabletop position. We kind of engage that core a little bit. We take that left leg and we shoot it up long behind us. The toes are facing down. And we take our right hand to the top of the mat. And we can flip that hand like we're shaking somebody's hand in front of us. And then we make a fist for that front hand. We bring elbow and knee together under the chest. And then we bring the hand and leg back out straight and long. And we do this 2 more times. The last one, you can drop that right hand down. We kick that left leg all the way over to the right side. Toes come down. You gaze over that right shoulder, pressing into that left hand. Same below to your toes if you can see them. Gaze comes back towards the hands. We go in the back, tippy toe. We draw a half circle with the foot. So now the foot is facing forward, feet flat on the ground. And then we begin to either do that cat cow or rock back and forth or sit all the way back on that back, whatever feels good. Begin to slow that down. come back to that neutral position. We just flip onto the heel here. We bring that toes all the way up to the sky. We bring the gaze back towards the hands and just feel that stretch in the, the outer part of the inner thigh. And then we bring the foot back down, toes facing forward. We make two fists here. We'll start with the left hand on our left hip, pushing up with the right hand. We're back into that half. Eight pose, we inhale, both hand over for hips. Reaching up. Beautiful. Then we take the hands out wide here. And we bring them back into heart center. And then if you like, you can grab that front leg, bring it over to the front part of the mat into the center. We grab those blocks. We press up so that the chest is nice and open. We bend that back leg. We put our right hand on that block, nice and firm. We cartwheel that left hand behind us. We try to grab our feet here. Maybe we push the foot back in towards our glute. Feel that into the inner part of the quad. And then you can release that back leg, cartwheel the right hand back down to the block. Steady yourself a little bit. We can place both hands on our thighs. And then we inhale, both hands come up overhead. And this time we're gonna go post the arms. We're gonna play with a little balance. So find a point that's not moving in front of you. Then we're gonna dip down to one side, your center, get to the other side. Your center. A couple of these, just feeling your way through it. Maybe you're a little wobbly, that's okay. And then the next time you come through center, you can slow that down. You can reach around. You grab the interlace the hands together. This time, try to place the opposite thumb on top. I forget which one I have in top, so it's okay. Push away those hands, shoulder blades kiss, gaze up towards the sky. Nice deep inhale here through the nose. Open mouth, side up, let it go. One more of those. You can untangle those hands, place them on the blocks. We move the blocks closer towards the body here. That front leg inches forward, it straightens out. We flip the toes up so that they're facing towards the sky. And then we begin to wave right and left. And then if you'd like, you can do that gas pedal again. So spreading the toes, pushing the foot down in the center, right, center left. Next time it comes to center, flip the toes back up. Just checking to make sure that you haven't blocked out that knee. Again, press up on the block so that the chest is nice and open. The gaze is towards the horizon. The chin is parallel to the earth. And then you begin to bring that chin all the way down to as far as you can beat that knee or till you feel that stretch. And then you tuck the chin in towards the chest. Flatten the hands on the block. And again, if you wanted a deeper stretch, you can scissor the top hip back, back hip forward, and then settle back in. Remembering to breathe. One last round of breath here. You can come down on that front foot. You can take the blocks to the top of the mat. And then we place our right and left hand on the inside of that left leg. We put the weight into that right hand. We bend that back leg. We cartwheel that left hand behind us. We can grab those toes and bring them towards the glutes. We bring the gaze back towards the horizon with a smile on our face. And then we can untuck the toes, cartwheel that arm back down, and then inch that left foot to the side of the mat, tip onto the side of that left foot. If you'd like, you could take that left hand and place it on the thigh just to start the stretch. The gaze comes back towards the horizon. And then if you'd like, using any props, maybe it's the blocks for the wrists, or you can use the blocks that come down to your forearms. And you settle in.
2 more breaths here. When you're ready, remove the props. The hands come flat back onto the mat. You take that top foot all the way back, bring the knee back. And we just reposition the hands into a tabletop, maybe a quick cat cow again, just to reset everything. And then we meet back into that neutral tabletop. We take a pump it forward with our hands and we tuck our back toes here. Then we push into the hands, we lift those hips all the way up to our spine, go downward facing dog. The gaze is now at the navel area. And then just try to pillow up those feet. It's okay to have a bend in the knees here. All I is bringing those hips up towards the sky. And we can slow any movement down. Maybe you take one of your hands and just put that blanket off to the right side of the mat. Then we position the hand back down. We make sure those hips are up the sky when we're downward facing dog. We bring the gaze towards our hands. We lift up that right foot. And then we bend that right foot. And we take that right knee and put it towards the right wrist. So that front foot comes down. We drop the front foot down. And then we drop the back leg down and untuck the toes and press up into our pigeon. If you'd like, you can tuck the back toes here and push back. And then untuck just to get a bigger stretch. And then if you'd like, you can come down to your forearms, or you can just remain a little. One more round of breath here. And then removing the blocks, you can press back into the hands here. Back in that big pigeon here, you can tuck the back foot, move the back knee up, and then just press up. You're almost in a plank position now. Then we take that left leg, we bend it. We bring left knee to left wrist. Come down on the back knee, we untuck the toes. Press up. And again, if you like that, you can lift the back foot up again and press it back a little bit and then tuck it back down. Look, feels good. Then we can come down with the forearms. And then when you're ready, one last breath here. Put the hands back down and press up. So kind of in what we call the king pigeon, which is pressing up, looking forward. You tuck the back toes, lift up that back right knee. And we're going to take that left leg back into a plank pose. We're just going to hold it for a second here. And we can drop the knees down. We can untuck the toes. We bring the chest down, followed by the chin. You're going to make a nice pillow for our head, so you can rest your head on the palms of your hands here. Then you're going to bend the legs and then tick-tock them from right to left. Just feel the hips releasing here. We have a saying, we store issues in our tissues and our hips. We store a lot, folks. A lot of trauma, a lot of anger, sadness. You can slow that down. The feet can come back out long so the top of the feet are pressed into the mat. We're going to bend the arms here so that the elbows are around the chest area. We're going to spread the fingertips wide here. Now, if you have a sore lower back like myself, you're going to engage the core and punch the glutes together.
And then when you're ready, you're gonna push up into a Sphinx pose. You want that belly button to come slightly off the mat. You're gonna gaze forward here. And then you can take the gaze over the right shoulder here, maybe then the right leg. And then left leg, left shoulder. Down. One more of those. And then the gaze comes back. You make that pillow again. And then ask you to maybe take that blanket to the right side of your mat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into a half frog here. So you have that blanket to the right side of your mat, you're gonna bend that right leg so that the knee comes off your mat. And you almost want an L shape so that hip and knee are in line and then the knee and the ankle. And then you're gonna flex that bottom foot. And then you're gonna settle your head back down. If you want to deepen that stretch, you can rotate the pelvis towards the mat. Maybe that blanket moves a little bit further away from you. And the pelvis gets closer to the mat. A little bit deeper with the stretch. One more breath here. When you're ready, you can take that right leg nice and long to the left. You can bend both legs again. And instead of tick-tocking this time, draw circles with the ankles in one direction. And then in the opposite. You can slow that down. Maybe take that right hand and slap that blanket and put it over to the left side here if you like that blanket on that knee. You settle back down. You're gonna do another Sphinx pose so we can bend the arms here, elbows tucked in towards the body, fingertips spread. You can engage the core, clench glutes as you push up. And we're just gonna hold it here now for 4, 3, 2, 1. You come back down. You bend that left leg so that the knee is off the mat. Again, into that half frog position. So you want the knee and hip in line and the knee and ankle. You flex that bottom foot and settle back down. You rotate the hips towards the mat. One more deep round of breath here. When you're ready, you can take that left leg back to the right. Maybe you do a little drumming with the tops of your feet here, just tippy tapping them on the mat. Whenever you're ready, you can place the hand beside our chests. And we're just going to push up to that tabletop for a brief second. And we're going to come down on one of our glutes. We're going to swing the legs around to the front like a mermaid. You can have the feet bent here. The hands can be beside us. We're just going to tick-tock those hips. Right to left here. And then the next time they come through center, you can just straighten the crown of the head up towards the sky. You can bring the hands forward here, just beside the legs. And then if you'd like one more kind of a little bit of core work here, we can lift up our right leg and then bring it down. Lift up the left leg, bring it down. Now, you guys bring up both feet here, but keeping the crown of the head facing towards the sky, you can feel the whole body engage, the toes face up towards the sky. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come down one vertebrae at a time. So the legs are going to come up long, and then you're going to come down onto your back. And as I say, finally a pose I am good at. Taking up some space here just for a second. We bend both feet here so that the feet are flat on the ground. We're gonna take our hands and just grab our knees and the knees in towards the chest, so almost like a nice tight little ball. And then when you're ready, you're gonna keep the right knee towards the body. The left leg is gonna come out long. So you've got both hands on that right knee. You're gonna press that right knee towards the chest and then a little bit out towards the right armpit. Now, you're gonna grab the kneecap with the left hand. The right arm is gonna come down to the ground like a T. And you're gonna take that left hand, you're gonna guide that right knee across the body into a twist here. You wanna keep that right shoulder pasted on the mat, and you can bring the gaze over to the right fingertips here. Gaze comes back to the sky, that top knee comes back towards the top of the sky as well. And then we just switch out. Right leg comes long, we bend that left leg, we grab the left knee with both hands, we bring it towards the chest, and then towards the armpits. And then this time we take the kneecap with the right hand, that left arm comes down like a T, and then we use that right hand to guide the knee across to the right side of the body, keeping that left shoulder on the ground, and then we gaze over the left fingertips into a twist. Gaze comes back up to the ceiling. We can guide that knee back towards the top as well. And we can just grab both knees and squeeze them in. This time, drawing circles with the knees in one direction. You're gonna feel like a nice little lower back massage. And then you can switch the direction. And when you're ready, you can slow that down. The feet come flat down. The hands come down by the glutes. Forearms are going to be down on the ground. And you want to maybe move the heels a little bit closer to the body so that you can almost touch the heels with the middle finger. Forearms are flat down on the ground. You're almost framing your glutes. Now, you're going to take that curvature out of your back. So you're going to rotate the hips slightly upwards. You're going to feel the core engage. You're going to take that curvature out of your back. And then when you're ready, press down into the feet and kick those hips up towards the sky into bridge pose. Now try not to let the knees splay out to the side. Imagine that there's a block in between your thighs and you're squeezing it together. Such a wonderful pose. Take a breath here. And then slowly come down one vertebrae at a time. We can cross that right ankle on top of left thigh. And just slowly, maybe use our right hand to push away that right thigh. And then the arms can come up like a T here. As you take that top foot all the way down to the left side, so the top of the foot almost comes down towards the ground. And you gaze over the right fingertips. One last supine twist here. Gaze towards the sky. Taking the knee across the body. We're just going to switch the feet here. So right foot comes down flat. That left ankle on right thigh. You can push away that left thigh if you like. You can put the hands up like a T. We take that top leg all the way over to the right side. So the left foot is on the ground. We gaze over the left fingertips, sorry. Gaze comes back to the ceiling as with the knees. Uncross those legs. And you can, during the last movement, that might feel good here before we get to our final resting pose. Maybe you bring the knees back into the chest, or maybe you can do a happy baby here where you've got the outside of your feet with your hands. And anything that will feel good. And whenever you're ready, in no hurry, you make your way to your final resting pose. Doing any props that would feel nice. And as we settle in, nice deep inhale here through the nose. Open your mouth side out, let it go. Looking full breath. Slowly and mindfully. And back to the space. Keeping the breath. Introducing small movements. Maybe it's the head from side to side. Wiggling the fingers, toes, ankles, and wrists. And if you'd like to bring your hands up overhead and a deep morning stretch. And then whenever you're ready, I invite you to make your way to your favorite side into the fetal pose where it all began. And in this position, I invite you to say something kind and loving towards yourself. If you struggle with that, imagine something that you say to a child or to a loved one. You say it to you. And the quote tonight by Kate Tomey, because it is the full moon, be the moon and inspire people, even when you're far from full. Using your hands as a lever, you can make your way to a seated position here. Crown of the head lifting up towards the sky. The arms come out to the side as we inhale, both hands come up overhead. As we exhale, the hands come down to heart center, slight bow of the head. Thank you so much for allowing me to share these gifts of yoga with you tonight. I truly appreciate them. You're